Hello and welcome back to thoughtbot's AI in Focus, where we explore the development and use of different AI tools as they emerge. We're riding high today off of after the release of ChatGPT 5. I have not had a chance to look at it, but I'm excited to be joined today by Yaser Mahmoud from FrontrowMD. Yaser, thank you for joining me.
Of course, glad to be here.
So you came to us, you're an existing client of thoughtbot, and you came to us with an interesting problem, which is you have an embeddable widget that clients of FrontRow can put on their own website, and you're faced with doing manual QA to make sure that things are working right across all those different embedded sites, right?
Yep, that's exactly right. And it's often a mix of issues that we've discovered. Sometimes maybe it didn't load properly, maybe the size was off, maybe the font, something changed. And so being able to QA these things at scale is actually quite important for us.
Mm-hmm. And I assume maybe because it's a manual process, it probably doesn't happen as often as you'd like.
That's a fair assessment. It happens, maybe not as often as we'd like. I mean, as often as we'd like is probably all the time we can be doing this, right? As maybe the maximum. But that's right. I mean, obviously we care deeply about our products, how they present to our end customers, and want to make sure it's also, never impacting performance and always kind of as optimal as it can be. And so something that we take quite seriously.
So before we jump into seeing whether we can solve this problem with various tools, I'm going to share my screen. Why don't we, if you could tell us a little bit about what FrontrowMD is.
Yeah, absolutely. So FrontrowMD, so we're on a mission to transform how people shop for their healthcare by helping them make informed decisions powered by doctor expertise. And so what we do is we've enabled doctors, medical providers to create digital stores that they can then share with their patients. And through those stores can share discounts and write reviews on their choice of health products. And what we do is we then empower our health brand partners to then promote this clinician trust to shoppers on their pages through our medical badges, which you can think of as a new form of social proof that powers trust and confidence with consumers. And the kind of best analogy is if you can think of, customer ratings and reviews, but for health products and
by doctors.
And by doctors, exactly. Mm-hmm. So what you're seeing here on the screen is a great example of that. And so you see our clinician's choice badge, that is a manifestation of the fact that, dozens, if not hundreds, if not sometimes thousands of clinicians are choosing to share that particular product with their patients on their FrontrowMD discount digital storefronts. And that is kind of the social proof that manifests as a result of that. And then we also have detailed reviews that these doctors are writing. And we ask them, here's a sample of the product, share your opinion, whether that's good or bad. Totally up to you. We just love your detailed expertise. And then we put those reviews on these health brand pages as well.
So we have a working demo site of this. So this is one component. It's this badge over on the upper left-hand corner of the product image, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then this section here is also from FrontrowMD.
Correct. Yeah. So the top left we think of as kind of the image banner is what we refer to that as. And then the top right one is our embedded badge. Both of these are actually showing the same data, the same information. We would rarely have them in this way on a live site, but this is a good use case for a demo. And this is exactly what I was referencing. So 517 clinicians shared this on FrontrowMD. They're not getting paid to share that. And then if you click on learn more, that little CTA above it, you'll see, who are we? What does this mean? And you can actually see all the different clinicians that are sharing this along, with a preview of their digital store if you're interested in doing that. And then if you go back to the badge, so if you click on that, read their reviews, that'll navigate you down here. This is obviously just a test case, but in theory, Dr. Hermione Granger over here would have written a detailed assessment of this particular product. And then, we can have a wide range of clinicians sharing.
And if I click on learn more, it shows the review in the modal.
Correct. We'll usually have, a larger than one for a particular brand, but doctors' time is also very valuable and they're busy. So often it won't be a ton of reviews, but we usually ask them to write, high quality, high fidelity reviews and in order to give shoppers as much information as they're making their choices.
Okay. So, in addition to this working one you've also set up some other pages which demonstrate problems that might occur.
That's right. Yeah. So in this case, and shout out to my head of engineering, Jillian, on this one. She just manually broke these things for us, which is great. The top right, you can see the badge. I mean, the font is off, the sizing is off, the width of the widget itself is off, the padding is also off. So
the reviews link isn't showing there.
Right, the learn more is not showing. So tons of issues with this one,
and the reviews aren't even on the page.
Right. Which that theoretically could be okay, but not every customer will have reviews. But I think on the last one, if you scroll down on this one. This is where, this one should have, but it's clearly not, not properly. So that's another great example of that being broken.
And then also this badge up here on the upper left is all squished.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. So our idea is to experiment with using ChatGPT Agent to detect and report on some of these problems. ChatGPT Agent came out several weeks ago, and it is sort of the combination of ChatGPT 4.0, deep research, and operator, which was using a computer. And so when you use agent mode, it's actually starting a virtual computer on ChatGPT servers that is used by ChatGPT. You've also wrote up some notes on what you're currently doing to do manual QA. So making sure all the calls to action are clickable, confirming the location has not changed since implementation, making sure that it says clinician's choice, clinician reviewed, or this X plus doctors or clinicians.
Yep.
and you are checking across a variety of different devices and browsers. It's worth noting that ChatGPT Agent only supports the browser that is essentially Chrome in there. So, and then for the badge, the things to check, and for the banner, for the reviews. So let's go over to ChatGPT, and we can begin to, ask it to do things. The way that you get to agent mode is you click on this plus and you go to agent mode. Okay, what should we say? I'm gonna copy the thing. We'll take the working one right now. Should we say something like, you are a quality assurance agent for FrontrowMD?
That's reasonable. Yep. And then maybe it's a good question. How do we, I think this is the challenge. How does it kind of determine what is considered broken?
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, we could theoretically, exactly, copy paste. We probably need something to point it in the right direction, right? So, it could be look for the widgets that have clinician's choice or clinician reviewed at the top, and then check to confirm that these things, generally work well. Something along those lines.
So I'm wondering whether it's going to be able to properly infer
what these things are,
what the badge, banner, and reviews are.
Yeah.
On the upper left hand side.
Yeah, this is interesting, and I wonder if you've had experience doing this in such a way that it's sequential. So, for example, could we first direct it to the correct page, and then have it first understand that this is what the correct manifestation of the three things are: badge, banner, reviews.
Yeah, and it will keep that as context.
Exactly.
So that's a good idea.
So yeah, maybe as a first step, navigate to this page and, identify these three assets. The top right one is the badge. The one on the
working
banner.
An example of a working embedded FrontrowMD. The badge appears on the banner. This is what you refer to as the banner?
We could call that one the badge, and then the top left we can call the banner.
Oh, okay.
And then the bottom we can call the reviews widget or testimonials. And then the reviews will be at the bottom.
Appears on the right hand side underneath the price. And the reviews are from clinicians.
Yep.
Are on the bottom of the page.
Perfect.
save this, remember this.
And then one small typo above.
Mm-hmm.
The banner appears on the upper left-hand side of the product image.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. The badge appears on the right-hand side underneath the price, and remember this example as a working implementation. Okay, well, let's see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, this is interesting for me, and I think this is one of the challenges I've had when I've tried to use these agents. I've played around. Manus, I think, was one of the first good generalizable agents out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the struggle was how to do this in a sequential way that therefore gives you the flexibility which is required to build something at scale. And so I'm curious how this will perform. I haven't played with ChatGPT Agent, so this is exciting. This looks great. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Perfect. Now the challenge will be the locations can move, which is okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is it interpreting this to mean that it should always be in that location, or that this is what this widget, how I should understand what this widget should look like?
Right. From my experience, it's going to, with guidance, be able to do that. So, because it'll initially flag that it appears in a different place but looks the same, and then we'll be able to tell it that that's okay. For example.
So this is maybe where you need to take over and enter the password.
Right. I was wondering whether it was going to realize that there was a password and
Oh, maybe it does.
So it does it on. So understood. I've noted as a working example the banner sets. Okay. So you can click here. I'm going to just type in the password.
Nice.
That went back to the home page, I realize. So
yeah.
Let me get the...
And while you're doing that, I saw Alejandro asked a question in the chat. So, which was, is the product is aiming to integrate seamlessly on your customers' websites in a way that doesn't break your customers' design guidelines for the websites? So, not exactly. We're not concerned about that. That essentially never happens in terms of us influencing the performance of the website itself. It's more that because our widgets load in an iframes, and that iframe is dependent on the rest of the the HTML and JavaScript on the page, sometimes the iframe does not render in properly. Either it doesn't resize properly, which then leads to other issues in terms of how it visually represents. So it's actually not necessarily how it impacts the customer pages, more so how it impacts our specific widgets and how they load in. So that's why the broken examples have, either a smaller widget or a different font size, et cetera, et cetera.
So we're calling this the banner?
Yep.
Okay. I want to test whether ChatGPT is reading the page correctly. I'm going to ask it what the text of the banner is.
Good call. Yeah, that's interesting. Testing that hallucination.
Particularly because we got blocked on the password page.
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing. How did it say, okay, great, I'll do this, and it didn't know what you're referring to? Oh, this is interesting. It's searching for the answer versus navigating. Yeah, so I don't think it's following the right path.
So actually, it's going by a little quickly, but it says, "Oh, I'm going back to the original thing and going back to
Oh,
that URL."
nice. Okay.
So now it's opening the URL again. It said I can't access the page because it's password protected.
That's interesting. So I guess, is it starting a new browsing session and getting rid of its, cookies and cache each
I
time?
really didn't think that it was going to. So that's interesting.
Yeah, that's a tricky one, because what we can theoretically do, I mean, we can look at some live examples which won't be password protected. The challenge with that approach is that none of them will be
None of them
broken.
are broken. Yeah.
So
Let's see. It really should maintain the session. So I have entered the password to the browser. Okay, good. Okay, the banner on the Balance product page reads Clinician's Choice. 517 clinicians shared this on FrontrowMD without compensation. A link that says View Clinicians and learn more.
nice.
Perfect. So it was able to try again, and it was now properly authenticated. So it was able to then read that text. Okay, so let's. So the one that we have that is not working is this. I'm actually going to say and identify and report on any differences. I'm going to say that might be issues. Just to see what it does before we give it specific things to look for.
Nice. Okay.
I'm scrolling further down the page to find clinician reviews as they're not showing up yet. I'm comparing Balance and Balance V2 pages. I'll capture a screenshot after scrolling to the top. Still, I'm waiting to confirm pages loaded, then I'll scroll. Okay. We're reviewing the baseline page and noting the differences in design and features compared to the V2 page. I'm creating a final message summarizing the differences. Okay. On Balance V2 page, the FrontrowMD integration doesn't match the working implementation on Balance. Badge display. In the working version, the clinician's choice badge under the price flows neatly and includes links to learn more and read their reviews, as well as small clinical avatar icons. On the V2 page, the badge is confined to a fixed height box with its own vertical scroll bar. This makes the text hard to read and hides the read their reviews link entirely, leaving only truncated message about clinicians sharing the product. Clinicians review section. The working page contains a section titled Clinicians Reviewed Independent Clinician Evaluations with detailed reviews from clinicians. This entire section is missing from the V2 page. The new page uses the balance V2 rather than balance. While this may be intended for a different product, it suggests the page might be duplicated template. Well, that is true.
Yeah.
The banner on the top left of the product image appears consistent between the two pages, but the absence of the clinician review link and section on the V2 page means shoppers cannot access the doctor evaluations or see clinician imagery.
Super interesting.
So it seems like it really was able to identify issues without, I think it found everything that was wrong, right?
It looks like it. Yeah. If you go back, I mean, the main thing was the badge display.
So this is the working one, and this is the one that's not. So
yeah, and then can you go back to the response? So some things that are off, right? I think it mentioned the CTA. I think the other thing was, I'm curious if it identified the padding.
Yeah, it said it flows neatly.
Neatly, yeah. I mean, I guess that's fair. That's reasonable. The V2 is trying to fix a fixed height box with its own vertical scroll bar. That's actually quite important. This makes the text hard to read. I mean, in some ways, it's actually. I mean, then this is the hope with this kind of technology is that it is a more holistic assessment, which is honestly what I prefer, rather than it has one pixel of width different. That doesn't really matter. The point is that does it have all the right elements? Is it readable? And that's actually exactly what it's trying to look for.
Yeah.
So that seems quite strong.
So let's give it this one. And I'm going to, on a hunch, I'm going to say, here is another page for a different product. Identify any issues with the FrontrowMD implementation. So when we did it the first time, we said identify and report on any differences that might be issues. So we specifically said differences. I think it's going to get it, even though I just said issues. But
yeah, because then there's the question of how did it do this? If it was very good at comparing and contrasting. So yeah, I think it's a good question. If it's not necessarily exactly apples to apples, can it still identify that something is off? But from the analysis, it seems like it would. Right?
Yeah, it is. In fact, it's interesting. It said, I need to scroll down further to make sure that the reviews aren't shown.
Yeah.
And so it scrolled all the way to the bottom. Okay, on the FOIE product, the FrontrowMD elements don't fully match the working balance of implementation. So the clinician's choice banner over the product image is severely cropped. Only a fragment of text is visible, and there's no clear call to action or close button. The badge beneath the price looks similar to the working implementation. It shows clinician's choice, the count of clinicians, links to learn more and read their reviews, and displays clinician avatars. This part appears properly integrated. And that's actually correct. This one up here is correct, I believe.
Yeah, looks mostly correct. I think so.
And then the review section is empty. So a clinician reviewed independent clinician evaluation heading is present, but no content follows. Okay, so we got pretty good results without having to actually tell like gave it this information. Instead, what we did was we gave it an example of a working one,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Yeah.
said to compare.
Mm. Yeah, that's quite strong. Yeah, I wonder if feeding this in would make it even more powerful when
Right.
testing on live sites. Um, and I guess that's the question is, I think to me, there's two questions now. It's number one, well, that was number one. And then number two is, how do we set this up in a scalable way? I mean, for example, can we upload a list of, a CSV with a list of URLs, and it can just go through one by one and then return ones where it's an issue?
Mm-hmm.
That would be interesting. Maybe I'll do that in the meantime. Maybe I'll just generate a list. Maybe not real brands. Maybe I'll just generate a list of random, e-commerce pages.
Mm-hmm. For the example pages already given, here are detailed things to check. So it never checked whether the CTAs were clickable or not.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to give it these notes and see what it says. Oh, I did accidentally copy the for setup section.
Yeah, that setup is actually, it would be an interesting one. I would be curious if it can do that. I think it's a separate thing. Maybe you can edit it while it's thinking. It looks like there's that edit button in the bottom right.
Yeah, you would need to give it access to the admin control panel where you could view setup, right?
Yeah, but even if it can just do steps 1 through 3, extract font color, background color, and then font size, maybe that's interesting. It can do that and just can return those values, and then we can manually port it over. Or even if we give it access to the admin portal in the same way we just did, and then we can navigate it to do this.
Okay. Once I edited it, it started over. So.
Okay.
Okay, I'll incorporate these detailed checks into the evaluation of the FrontrowMD implementation on the example pages.
Okay, sweet. I guess it's asking you to continue, it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's asking to. That's nice. So I guess while it's doing this, one question for you, I'm curious if you've approached it in this way is, the challenge that I've faced with these types of chat-based agents is it's all of this kind of goes into a black box in my mind, right? And if I later want to edit, let's say, I want to change some instruction or I want to configure some different action. One advantage to a tool like N8N or Relay or Gumloop, these tools that that's exactly what they do, right? They have each step broken out, and you can therefore go in and fine tune and tweak things without necessarily, breaking the whole box apart. And so I'm wondering if you've had experience doing something like that through this. Do you go up and edit an earlier prompt, or do you have it learn all of this and then give it edits? I think that's one of the greatest challenges I see to using these types of tools.
Yeah, I agree. It's especially because ChatGPT Agent is not available via the ChatGPT APIs yet. You can't really program against it.
Yeah.
So what I've been experimenting with is a tool called Browser Use. And that allows you to, from Python or from the command line, control browser. But N8N is another really good thing for folks who haven't used it. It's a workflow builder, sort of. If you've ever used Zapier before, it allows you to piece together different integrations and tools and into a workflow. But I don't know, does NAN have any computer use integrations?
It's a good question. I'm not sure. I don't think so. They have things that achieve the same type of goal, but not in the exact way. So for example, I think they have, you can integrate with Firecrawl, which is an AI powered web crawler, web scraper. But then that runs into its own set of problems because obviously that's blocked from a lot of websites as it makes sense to be. And so it's not exactly a browser in the same way, I believe.
Right. And there's advantages. I don't know. It went by very quickly, but for example, this said that it was going to view source on the page and look at the CSS and JavaScript of the page in the text of what it said it was going to do. And like, I don't think you get that unless you're basically have something that is truly using the computer without programming that.
Interesting. Yeah. So I wonder, what are your thoughts on, if browser use has the same kind of capability, what are your thoughts on why use something like OpenAI's agent versus maybe browser use if it plugs into the same models?
Yeah. So we can jump over to browser use and actually see what we get. And it uses ChatGPT. It takes screenshots of your local browser and does that. So we got the question in the chat from Full Stacking. What are we talking about? Just to recap, if you were just joining, we have Yaser from FrontrowMD. They have an embeddable widget that people put on their e-commerce stores where they can present doctors' reviews of products. And so they want to make sure that for all their clients, they're being presented correctly, that they don't have any issues on those websites, that everything looks good. And right now, all of that checking is done by hand. And so we're exploring using ChatGPT Agent, which is a full computer use model to identify issues. And so far, it's done a pretty good job of comparing the working reference to two pages that have issues and presenting and identifying the issues. So this is browser use, and browser use is available on GitHub. It's an open source tool. It's very actively maintained. Most recent commit was 18 minutes ago. There's a lot of people working on this. And it runs against the local Chrome that you have running. You can hook it directly to any of these. Let me zoom in a little bit so it gets a little bigger. It has support for multiple models, including local models running locally on your computer as well. But you can give it the API key for OpenAI or Gemini or Anthropic, and it will use the ones that you tell it to use. And you can control your browser locally in a similar way. So I've set up a script here. Let me adjust the size. So
this is your browser.
Arup says, asks, so it would replace Cucumber tests. It's not quite what we're talking about. This is checking real production websites is to make sure that the embeddable widget is working correctly on the real production websites. So that's a little bit different. So I think I did this before we started streaming, but I actually think that we should take the tack that we did.
Maybe before that, as one suggestion, I would be curious. Can we? I am curious if we were to go down the OpenAI route. I mean, this seems like a pretty strong proof of concept on a one-off basis, and so if, for example, we were to upload a CSV with a list of e-commerce sites, just go one by one and then flag the ones that have issues, for example, because that's, how we would probably,
right,
deploy this more practically.
So how would we? Do you have an example of more URLs we could use?
Yeah. So what I did is I just asked ChatGPT to prepare a CSV of e-commerce sites. They don't have our badge, but I think that's fine because even if they do have our badge, none of them have issues right now, right? We're using a test store to break issues. So even if it did that, that wouldn't work. So let me see if I can drop this here. Can I attach a file here? Maybe not.
No.
Well, if you just open up an instance of just ChatGPT chat, that's exactly what I did. I just asked it. I said, create me a CSV of e-commerce websites, of D2C e-commerce websites, maybe outside of this agent chat, I would say, so it doesn't mess with any of the instructions.
Did you try that use FrontrowMD?
You could try that. I wonder if it'll know how to do that. But that's okay. I think either way, okay, some of these actually are accurate. So, which is fine. And so, yeah, maybe just ask it, okay, visit the websites. Sure. I think you just ask it, yeah, just create it. Just assume these are all right and just create a CSV of their, any of their product detail pages. Okay, it's really. Yeah, that looks fine. Yeah, that works.
Let's verify that it's a.
Yeah, this one maybe not. If you go back, some of them were correct. I think they had a good Anya. Yeah, that one should be right if you take that URL. Euro Naturals, I believe, should have it as well. So if you scroll down, it'll be below their right there's the badge. So that's fine. So why don't we just use those? This is a pretty good CSV then. And then I'm curious what it'll return. Again, it's none of these I think are broken, but as you saw, the Godania location was different than what we had before, and so maybe that's actually a worthwhile call out, and we can kind of refine it over time.
So if we go back to.
Yeah, so now I'm thinking we go back to the agent and then basically say we will upload to you a CSV, go through each of those URLs and identify any issues with either badge, banner, or reviews.
Wonder why. says add files is unavailable.
That's interesting. Maybe you can just copy paste
Yeah,
it.
I'll just copy and paste.
Yeah. Just say below is a CSV.
I'm going to say only report on ones that appear to have issues.
Perfect. Yeah. And then, do you know, are you able to set up some kind of cron job or something where it runs, every morning at 9 a.m. or I don't know if that's within the capabilities of something like this.
I don't think that that's within the capabilities of Agent.
Yeah. That's where maybe browser use or something that you can actually configure or build alongside might work. Oh, it went back to Harmony Bloom. That's interesting.
I think that's just the page that it's loaded.
Oh, okay.
So now it's loading the other pages.
Oh, nice.
I still don't see the FrontrowMD is what it's saying.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. We didn't see it on there earlier. That's okay.
And said, I'll see if it. Oh, did you see it just clicked on the cookie warning to accept it?
That's interesting. Now, what does that mean? Where's the liability for that cookie going now? That's interesting. These are the questions that nobody has answers to.
Okay, so it's going to good on you.
I like the way that it is not only can you see the browser, but it is also giving you information on what it's doing. Scroll down.
A modal offering a 50% discount popped up. I'm going to dismiss it.
Closing promotional modal. Okay, let's see if it catches it.
I observed the front row badge. I'll check the page for the clinician's reviews. I'm scrolling to the bottom of the page. And it said the page might not have it implemented. Oh. So now it's gonna see it now. So it's saying I'm going to check the learn more link to make sure it opens the modal is what it said there.
Yep.
I'm not able to identify any major issues, so I won't include it in the report is what it said. So now it's checking the Euro Naturals page.
Interesting. Oh, wow. Okay.
Turns
It's
a
working
404.
around the specific URL.
You see it got a 404. Now it's doing a search to see whether it can find the real page. It found it.
Yeah, it found it, but it said that it was going to another brand actually, and now it's getting a little confused. Yeah, this has happened to me before, where I've given it a task, and it did really well for the first couple iterations of the task, and then it just spiraled out of control for some reason, as it kind of seems to be doing now. It's kind of going all over the place.
I think it's going to be able to recover.
There we go. Nice.
So I don't know if you noticed, it just said it lacks the read their reviews text, but they're using different text on their widget.
Yeah.
There could be filtering in the environment. It's trying to be very resilient to browsing these pages. We did just, I didn't check these ones before giving it. I only checked the first two. It eventually found the page.
Very interesting. Do you know how cost works for this? Is it because I know you get a certain number of agent uses per plan?
Yes.
All of this considered one use, or does it matter how complex or deep the use is? How does that work?
I do not know.
Yeah. I'm just thinking in this case, right? It's doing so much to find these URLs. And so I wonder if that's just adding up in the background, or if it's it's just achieving the same goal that we set out for it.
We can, after it finishes, we can check the usage.
Yeah.
Okay, so it finished. It's summarizing the issues now.
Nice. Okay.
Okay, so routine, the product page has no front row integration at all. There's no banner, no badge, no clinician reviewed section. Okay, the URL provided redirects to a discontinued or 404 page. A similar page for organic Monaco skin soothing cream original does include a clinician choice badge with a working view. However, it lacks the full implementation. The page shows no banner over the product image, omits a read their reviews CTA, and does not include a clinician review section lower on the page. Okay, this Profi active defense, it couldn't find anything. Was able to.
Interesting. Oh, I was going to say, it looks like it found a real issue, and then I realized, well, it was the test page, which is good. It's a truncated banner, which means it did find it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is where we probably need to retrain it, that just because something is not there is not a problem. Not everything should be on the page, which is
right.
Okay. Although, I mean, to be fair, maybe not. Maybe that needs some user judgment too, because sometimes maybe it should be there. And
I think what you would need, I feel pretty confident that if you were to tell it, the configuration for Good On Ya does not include the reviews on the page,
right,
that it would be able to report.
Yeah. And maybe that's something we would be able to add to the CSV would be the best, which is what should be here. What you should be checking for? Badge, banner versus just reviews, et cetera, et cetera.
So shall we go over to the Python browser use
Let's
and
do it. Yeah,
do a
that sounds
similar
great.
thing and see what we can get it to do?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay. So I have we can start from the premise of doing what we had already done in ChatGPT. So I'm telling it to just open that page directly. So is an example of a working embedded FrontrowMD. The banner up here is okay. And then I'm going to say visit another example. Okay. So the way that this works is it's going to actually open up a browser. It's going to open full screen. I'm going to have to resize it when it opens. But let's see.
Does it take full control, or can you parallel process this? Like, can you have it just running in the back, or it needs to be fully using your?
No, you can have it be headless. Okay, so it failed because what it says is, please provide the password or unlock the store.
Sure.
I'm going to say it is password protected. Pause so that I can enter the password.
Uh-huh.
Let's see if that works. I have no idea whether it's going to or not.
It's like, wow, nice instruction.
Whoops. So what has happened is when I resized the page, it became unresponsive. I'm going to kill it. It did say landed on the password protected page for Harmony Blooms, waiting for user to enter the password before proceeding. Pause and wait for the user to enter the password. So it did the right thing, but when I resized the page, that seems to be when it beach balled.
Nice.
So I'm going to try killing this again. And pause as requested. Please enter the password for the store. Then let me know I can proceed. Let me try that again. Okay, so it's waiting for 10 seconds. I'm hesitant to resize the browser because it messed up last time. But
yeah. Okay.
Let me try though. Okay. It's on the product page now. I'm going to try to resize it so you can see.
Nice.
So it's now navigated to the FOIE one, which is missing the reviews. Okay, so it finished its work. The output here is obviously not being parsed, but okay. Here is a summary of the front row. Let me copy and paste this to make it a little bit easier to read. That's not easier to read.
Perfect.
Okay, so it says, okay, no major functional issues, but the review presentation differs from the working example. Banner appears in multiple places near product details in modal pop-ups, which may be redundant or confusing. Badge is present but appears as text within widgets, not as a distinct graphical badge. Its prominence may be less than the working example. Clinician reviews are present, but only one is shown and uses placeholder text. That's funny because that's absolutely true.
Very true. And the OpenAI agent did not catch that, if I remember properly,
It's
right?
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
There may be more reviews accessible via widget, but this is unclear. All FrontrowMD content is loaded via iframes. Some iframe content was blocked by browser extensions. The main widget's loaded. Review presentation, visible narrative. Badge may lack graphical prominence. Banner appears multiple times. So we may be able to massage this prompt. The banner appears. Okay. I'm gonna visit the following product pages and compare them to the working example reporting on any identified issues. I'm also going to ask it to click. So then we have for the badge banner and reviews, ensure Okay, let's run this and see what happens. I believe we aren't going to need to enter the password anymore. Professor of Logic, yes, this is what we're doing, but it's on it's an embeddable widget on production websites. So we are checking to see whether real production websites have any issues embedding the widget. It seems like it stalled again when I resized the window. Let's kill this and let's see if we look at the browser use docs quickly, whether we can get the. It's also worth noting they do offer browser use in a hosted version in the cloud as well.
Oh, they do offer that. I feel like that would address some of the resize issues at least, hopefully, and maybe allow for a little bit easier parallel processing.
Here we go, viewport. This is good.
Nice.
And you can see that's where you would also say headless too. So the syntax for this is like this. We don't want headless. We don't need to specify that. And then we can say, oh, I need to import browser session. And open full screen. So you can see from the output, it is thinking and then output. This is the reference implementation. I can see the banner on the upper left, under the price on the right. The CTAs are visible and appear clickable. There are no unapproved assets or language present. It didn't actually attempt to click on it, which is interesting.
And which underlying model is this using? Because yeah, it seems like it's actually taking quite different steps and running a different analysis, which is interesting.
I have it set to be using 4.1.
Okay, that's interesting, and which I believe is what Agent is using as well, right?
Might have been using 4.0.
Yeah, I think it is 4.0.
It does seem less smart, but it's hard to tell whether that's browser use or the model.
Right. Yeah, I mean the best is when they release Agent via API, and then you can basically do everything we're doing here directly with the OpenAI agent.
So it's a little hard to tell because it's full screen. on here, but it is doing things. What it's not doing is it's not opening the front row modals like like Agent was.
Yeah.
It's just doing something like it appears that they're clickable, but it is. You see, it just scrolled the page there.
Yep. Yeah.
Any clickable elements are present in the reviews section. Okay, so it just outputted a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
Oh, I see. It's extracting the content of the page as a JSON structured thing. Okay, so here's what we got as the result. Okay, so when it checked balance v2, the banner is present in the correct location. Present in the correct location, the badge. Now, and no actual reviews displayed on the bottom, only CTA's links to read reviews elsewhere. CTA is all present and clickable. View clinicians and learn more, read their reviews, etc. Unapproved assets. Uses clinician's choice banner. 517 clinicians share this, and references to clinician types counts, all not approved assets. You know, I think that might be a wording thing, because in here, usage of any of our assets that are not approved implemented by us, then it says, e.g., look for clinician's choice, clinicians reviewed. So that can be interpreted as those are the assets that are not approved. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Not exactly that last part.
It identified that the page included these assets.
Yep.
And the way that it could be interpreted is usage of any of our assets that are not approved, e.g., look for
Right.
clinician's choice. So it thought that those were not approved examples.
And which ones did it think were not approved examples?
It saw clinician's choice and it saw this and
See.
says they're not approved.
That's interesting. Okay. So yeah, it's interesting comparing and contrasting, because I think, and this is maybe because of the difference in 4.0 versus 4.1, but for 4.0, which is what we believe the agent was using, is a little bit more holistic, right? And I think 4.0 is more of a reasoning model.
Yeah.
So
we could try changing this to 4.0.
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting.
And we can reword the usage of ensure that say look for clinician's choice or clinician reviewed or 1,000 plus doctors clinicians report if how would you if the usage includes graphics not approved. It's a little weird, but it didn't do that. It didn't do that viewport. It'd be nice if we could. Okay, I'm just going to run it. Okay, I was able to resize the browser without breaking it this time.
Nice. Step forward. What change did you make that enabled you to do that?
I just did it really quickly.
Nice.
I probably just did it right at the time where it wasn't trying to do a bunch of stuff with the page.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Pablo, who asks, have you ever considered running local models for agents due to privacy concerns or cost savings? Yeah, totally. In fact, on previous streams, we've done that a few different times, both for privacy concerns, but also just so that we weren't using those external agents. I actually, personally believe that for a lot of products, local models and self-hosted models will rapidly get to the point where they're sufficient for a lot of product functionality, which is really important for applications in medical, finance, those kinds of things, to be able to run those models, self-host them, and not have to send that data to external people. We're not quite there yet, although in addition to the GPT-5 news that came out today, earlier this week, or was it last week, ChatGPT, OpenAI released their open weight models. I don't know if you saw that, Yaser. So that allows you to run a set of models developed by OpenAI locally as well. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. On the stream, we've done DeepSeek and we've done Llama from Meta. Those are the two we've done on the stream already. But I am interested in checking out OpenAI. So we got a good output. Actually, just looking at the output of this, it almost already seems better. So obviously, so what it's outputting here is Markdown.
Right.
If I had a Markdown editor handy, I would actually.
I think Notion maybe takes Markdown and reformats it. Believe, maybe not.
That's not going to work. It's not going to work quickly.
That's fine.
Okay, but here's the report. I've completed a review. Here's a summary. Banner present incorrectly placed. Badge present incorrectly placed, which is actually not correct. It's not detecting the lack of padding.
Yeah.
Reviews present and functional. CTA
And this is with the 4.0 model now, right?
Yes. So it didn't detect any issues on that page, which we know is incorrect.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Now on the FOIE page, it got banner not explicitly mentioned, badge not explicitly mentioned, reviews present and facilitated by FrontrowMD, CTAs. Issues identified. FOIA page lacks explicit FrontrowMD banner and badge, which may need clarification or adjustment. Okay, I take it back about what I said about this looking better.
Yeah. It's interesting why it's not working as well, given the model, the underlying model seems to be the same. So maybe something in the inherent browsing capability, right? Because it seems like that's the part of the stack that browser use built, right? And so maybe because of that, it is not able to either observe or understand the information or act on the information in the same way that OpenAI's agent is.
Yeah. It's also possible that like when I resized the page, I messed it up, but it seemed like it was working. So that's probably not the case.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, that should lead to more issues in the report, right? It should actually have, you know, even more QA flags if that's the case.
Well, here's the trick. Since OpenAI doesn't have an API for ChatGPT Agent, you need to use ChatGPT Agent on ChatGPT.
That is the key.
Or use browser use running locally to use ChatGPT Agent.
That's interesting.
There we go.
That's the real hack. Agents managing agents. Yeah, we are moving towards that world more and more.
Yeah. Okay, well, it seems to me like the biggest issue with the results with ChatGPT Agent were pretty good. The biggest issue is using it programmatically.
Right.
But we could generate that CSV file and get it to run through that CSV file, especially if they were valid product pages, or we could provide instructions like from the product index, visit every product.
Yeah. I think that's right, which I think is feasible, right? I mean, we can easily generate that CSV ourselves.
Yeah.
And then if we have the instructions set up in its own workspace, then theoretically, I mean, even if we manually kick this process off each day, you know, or whatever time frame we choose, and that should be reasonable. And yeah, looking at this, it seems like it is done on a, you know, per use basis.
Actually, we started with 39, I believe.
Oh, wow. So we use 9.
We used 9.
That's interesting. So was it each command was considered one, I wonder? Maybe each time it has to go and actually take an action. Whatever results in it taking an action is probably results in one usage of an agent credit.
Yeah, that seems about right for going from 39 to 9.
Yeah. That's interesting.
And I believe you can get more. That's just how many there are per month.
Right. Yeah, so that's where the cost starts to add up. If you're doing this, you know, let's just assume it's daily over, you know, hundreds of URLs, you know, that'll start to add up pretty quickly. And that's where I think some programmatic solution or even one of these low code automation platforms are helpful, because they allow you to only use these credits in the most critical part of the workflow, right? So like navigating to a URL is actually okay, but maybe, you know, comparing the iframe or the widget with what it should be is a harder thing. And that's where you might need some level of reasoning, but you don't really need reasoning for most of the other steps. So that configuration, I think, would be super powerful. If only, again, they had an API, it would make it a lot better.
Right. The other thing that I might also explore is what it would look like to just take screenshots of the page and then use the ChatGPT APIs to say, compare these two screenshots from the baseline to the other product page.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
Because if that produced decent results, then you could not only program that, but the usage would be you could take screenshots locally using the local browser pretty quickly,
Yeah.
and then use ChatGPT APIs to compare them and generate a report.
Yeah, that's interesting. Actually, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I like it.
Well, we're pretty much out of time for today, but I really appreciate you taking the time to share FrontrowMD with us and this interesting excuse to try out a new tool.
Yeah. Of course. Thank you. Thank you for having me. No, this was a fun exploration. I've been meaning to get around to user agent mode, but haven't done so. So this was a great opportunity. And also on quite the auspicious day with the GPT-5 release. I imagine if we were doing this, a day or a week later, things might look a little different. I don't know if their agent mode has changed yet, but things
Yeah.
are changing quickly. And so the more we stay on top of all this, the better. So thanks for the opportunity.
Awesome. And if you are looking for help with your product design, development for an existing product or something new, you can always get in touch with us at thoughtbot.com. I'm Chad Pytel. I'm the CEO and founder of thoughtbot, and I will be back on the stream next week. Maybe we'll continue this challenge, or we'll do something new. As always, I'm very interested in if you've got ideas for things to code, things to try as a developer, as a product person. Definitely drop them in the comments or the chat. We're always looking for new topics for future shows. That's it for now. Until next week, thank you very much for watching, and we'll check you later.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.